Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. That, friends and neighbours, is the British Tier 5 premium heavy tank, the Excelsior. Not a tank I was in any rush to buy. I'd played it on the test server, didn't like it very much. But then my old mate Terry, who goes by the name Mother Hen on World of Tanks, gifted me the money to buy one and demanded I go out and do so. And cheers, Terry. So now I have to review the Excelsior. And there it is. I've got it painted, got the old gnome on the side, which to do with, I've got that on the TOG as well. It just seems appropriate on the TOG. Seems slightly inappropriate on the Excelsior, but, it's tradition. And there it is. So what we have here is a very, very mobile, very un-British heavy tank. It's a funny old machine, the Excelsior. My preview of it on the test server was that it was a very mobile heavy tank with a gun that was basically designed to sell gold ammo. And my opinion hasn't changed. That's pretty much still exactly what this thing is. Stat-wise, it's not terrible. In fact, it's actually pretty good in almost every respect, bar one. 670 hit points is a fair old chunk of health for a Tier 5 heavy tank. I think it may even have the most. Let's have a quick look at the tech tree. There are only two other Tier 5 heavies, I believe. There would be well, there's the Premium Churchill 3 as well, of course. And that has, 700 hit points. So, okay, the Churchill 3's definitely got the hit point end of the market cornered. The KV-1 stock has 590, so you add the upgraded turret, it'll gain a bit more, but it's not going to have 670. The T1 Heavy, there we go, again, stock T1 Heavy has 600. With the upgraded turret, again, it's probably, I don't know, but it's probably not going to have as much as that. So it's only 30 health less than the Churchill 3, and the Churchill 3's got a lot of health for a Tier 5 Heavy, so that's good. It's relatively light, it weighs 41 tons, can weigh up to 44, and has a 600 horsepower engine, which means it can do up to 38.6 kilometers per hour, and that's blisteringly fast for a heavy tank. Good power to weight ratio, and it will probably cruise at around 35. It doesn't usually reach that 38 unless it's going downhill, in which case it'll exceed it. But generally speaking, your speed on off-road terrain is 35 kph, and that's pretty damn good. Any heavy tank that goes faster than 30 kph is a bloody mobile heavy tank. And the traverse speed as well is damn good, 32 degrees. So you're probably thinking, well, where's the downside? Is this really a heavy tank, or is this a big medium in disguise? Well, no, the armour at the front is 114 millimeters thick. That's really, really good. The side armour of the hull is only 31 millimeters thick, so yeah, there's that. But look at that side skirt. That's really good spaced armour there. Shooting at the side of this thing is not a guaranteed... you're not guaranteed to penetrate, because like most of the British heavies, the side is all tracks, which acts as spaced armour, and then there's the side skirts, which is spaced armour. So it's going to be frustrating. I'm shooting at the side of this thing because of all that spaced armour on the side, even though the armour on the end of all that spaced armour is only 31 millimeters thick. First you've got to get through the side skirts, then you've got to get through the tracks. So I can imagine this thing eating a lot of shots from the side and frustrating people. And the rear armour, 108 millimeters. So it's very, very well armoured. The turret is pretty good as well, 114 at the front. Much better at the sides, 92 at the sides and the rear. So it actually has heavy tank armour. It has very good heavy tank armour. The turret traverse as well, 36 degrees. That's... where's the downside? Well... and the view range isn't bad, 350 metres at Tier 5. The radio's a bit crap, but it's only a Tier 5 heavy, 570 metre signal range is fine, What about the gun? Ah, yes. The gun. 75mm gun, Mark V. It isn't even as good as the gun on the Sherman, and the gun on the Sherman is, the old M1A1 gun is pretty shit. Good rate of fire, 15.79 rounds per minute, so that is good. 91mm of penetration. That's bad. If two Excelsiors are shooting at each other from the front, if one of them isn't firing premium ammo, they'll probably run out of ammo before they actually kill each other. Damage 110, yeah, 75mm gun, average for that sort of caliber weapon. Horrible accuracy, 0.42. Aiming time is okay, 2.3 seconds. It's all right, nothing wrong with the aiming time. It's that penetration. that's what kills it. However, if you spend a bit of money on this tank, you can have 144mm of penetration. I see where this is going. It's one of those tanks. I said it on the test server when I did a preview of this thing. I'm saying it again now. This tank exists to line the pockets of wargaming by selling gold ammunition. It is absolutely useless without gold. Don't think you can get away with firing HE. 75mm high explosive is beyond useless. You'll hit somebody with your 75mm HE, and if it doesn't bounce, it'll do 12 damage. So just don't even waste your time. It's armor piercing or premium. And let's face it, it's premium. So how much is it going to set you back? Well, 2,800 credits per shot. 2,800 credits. And it only does 110 damage. You're going to be using a lot of this stuff to do any kind of damage with this tank. The armor-piercing ammunition is just awful. It's great for beating up tier 3s and 4s. It's just a waste of time against tier 5s. You can even bounce off Shermans, for crying out loud. It's that bad. And that is pretty much the problem with the tank. It's a great tank with a bloody awful gun. It is just beyond pathetic. It exists purely and simply for lining wargaming's pockets and making people buy gold ammo. But it is a premium tank. So what you can at least do with it is, and the only British heavies I have are the two premiums, the TOG, which is fantastic. The TOG, shit, that tank is great. Well, it's crap by itself. It's great in TOG platoons. The Excelsior is just crap. Or that seems to be the case. But I've been wrong before. I looked at the IS-6 on paper and I thought, well, the armour's rubbish, and the numbers are, it's crap. It's a tier 8 heavy tank with, well, the armour's... Actually, I'll show you what I mean. Let's go and have a look at the IS-6. Now, bear in mind, the numbers on paper, and this is precisely what I'm talking about here when I'm talking about misjudging tanks. The numbers on paper here for the Excelsior say that the frontal armour is 114mm thick. Alright, let's have a look at the IS-6, which is 3 tiers higher. It's only 100mm. This is a rubbish tank. I'm not buying this. 100mm at the front and the sides, yeah, absolute garbage. Yeah, but look at the sloping. The IS-6 is actually an incredibly well-armoured tank. And, this is one of those things that where you look at the numbers on paper, it doesn't tell the whole story. You have to actually look at the tank itself and drive it. And then you find out that what I thought, in the case of the IS-6, was a pile of garbage, is actually one of the best and most fun tanks in the game. You come to the Excelsior, and the numbers, it's in reverse. The numbers tell a different story. 114mm of armour at tier 5. Yes, please. It's actually not that good, as you're going to see. Right, here we are. My first, and if I have anything to say about it, the last game I ever play in the Excelsior on the live server. Tier 5 heavy tank, tier 5 game. Should be able to do exceptionally well here. Top tier with this kind of armour at the front. Yes, please. We're here on steps, and as a fast heavy tank, I want to go barrelling up this side with the mediums and put the fear of God into everything that I run into. Unfortunately, we have the most annoying FCM36 driver in the entire world on our team. There he goes. He's going to start spamming that map, and he is not going to stop. There is a special circle of hell reserved for map spammers. Up to their waists in shit. Standing on their fucking hands. He has a point. It's a lemming train. It's a classic lemming train. But he doesn't have to be such a douchebag about it. Anyway, he finally shuts the hell up. I love the way he's spamming the map. Somebody go that side, and he's over on this side with everybody else. Anyway, SU-85. 45mm of armour at the front. This should be easy. Bounced. Oh, penetrated. Watch the colour. See, did you see that? The aiming reticle, the penetration marker, it changed to orange. There are parts of the front of an Su-85 which only has 45mm of armour at the front. There are parts of the front of the Su-85 that this gun is going to struggle to penetrate. I just, you know, words fail me at this point. But, you know, it's... okay, the gun's crap, but at least the armour is really good, right? Yeah, we're going to see about that. Now, there's a T-34 up there, and he also has 45mm of armour sloped all over. And given the way that this gun failed horribly on the Su-85, screw this, I'm loading the premium. I've got 14 rounds of premium ammo. I've done 91 damage so far in this game, from 3 or 4 shots fired at a bloody Su-85. Well, I can at least penetrate, and so I bloody should. This thing is 144mm of penetration. I can at least penetrate the T-34. Now, there is a KV-1 and a Churchill up this road in front of me. But that's alright. I have 114mm of frontal armour. So I'm going external camera view for this, just so you can see what happens here. And I'm angled. Look at this. Just what the hell is going on? I don't want to angle too much because I only have 31mm of side armour. You see that? That is ridiculous. They penetrated my turret front, they penetrated my hull front with ease. Wait till you see the numbers after this match. This tank is absolutely useless. The gun is absolute rubbish unless you're firing gold, and the armour, which is its strongest selling point, isn't even that good when you're top tier. Look at that damage. Absolutely absurd. So, there you go. My very first game in the Excelsior. Aside from the matches that I played on the test server, and I think I only played 2 games in it on the test server. But it's just confirmed what I said about the tank when I was previewing it. The gun is garbage. I mean, it is a great tank. It really it's fast. It's manoeuvrable. It's way more nimble than you'd expect a heavy tank to be, even down at tier 5. But the gun is utter rubbish. I mean, I did. There we go. There, 886 damage. In fact, let's see. 15 shots fired, 11 direct hits, 9 penetrations. I couldn't penetrate anything. An Su-85 was... I was getting an orange penetration marker on the front of an Su-85 with standard ammo. That rubbish there, the armour-piercing ammunition. An Su-85 only has 45mm of frontal armour, but it's sloped. And that gun wasn't even sure whether or not it could penetrate that. That was just ridiculous. It's only a tier 5 tank destroyer, for Christ's sakes. Now, the reverse is also true. Because, again, pulling those stats up, have a look at the amount of damage I took. Now, the potential damage received was 1100. So this is alright, actually, for a tank that has 670 hit points. But I ended that game with, like, 1 health. Took 10 hits, 8 of which penetrated. 2 bounced. Now, as for the 2 that bounced, I strongly suspect, because he was over there as well, although I could be wrong, it's possible that the KV-1 bounced a shot as well. It's likely that the KV-1 bounced a shot as well, but this little fella over here, the Panzer 38T, was also taking shots at me. He's going to bounce, but the Churchill 1 didn't. The KV-1 didn't bounce with most of his shots. 10 shots fired at me, 8 of them penetrated, and they were all through the frontal armour. You saw holes all over the front of this tank. So that 114mm of armour at tier 5 looks fantastic. And that was only a tier 5 game. There were no tier 6s shooting back at me. And I was getting penetrated like a cheap whore down Mill Bay docks. So the biggest selling point of this tank, the armour, isn't even that good. It just doesn't save you. And the gun, well, again, let's have a look. I went through 14 rounds of APCR ammo in that game. And I only made a profit because I was running a premium account. And I won. Now, you don't have to do that much damage to actually run a profit, even using APCR in this thing. But, well, I didn't actually fire that many shots. Did I run out of AP? Let's see. How many shots did I fire? Well, actually, I didn't run out of AP. I mean, I fired a bunch of shots in that game. Fired 15 shots, 11 direct hits, 9 penetrations. The APCR penetrated, and so it bloody should. It's 144mm of penetration at tier 5. Every single armour-piercing shell I fired, even at shitty little tank destroyers, either bounced or only blew their tracks off. And that's just not acceptable. This tank is garbage. It's utter garbage. If I hadn't been gifted the money to buy this thing, I wouldn't have touched it with a shitty stick. It will at least be useful for skilling up my TOG crew. Because it's a premium, and I can put the TOG crew in there without having to retrain them. And that, in fact, is exactly what I've done. See, the TOG doesn't have a crew in it. These guys are all my TOG crew. Well, they're not all of them. TOG has a big crew. It's most of my TOG crew. But that's pretty much all this thing's good for. Yeah, if you're prepared to spend a lot of money running this thing and never make much of a profit on it, kit it out with APCR ammo, and you'll do all right. But you've got to angle that armour. I mean, 114 is just, it's, as you know, as you just saw, it's just not good enough. I mean, if they hit you from the front, they're probably going to bounce if they hit this bit due to the angling. But where's it going to go? Straight into this frontal plate. And look at that weak spot. And look at that weak spot. Look at the front of the turret. And look at that weak spot. No. This tank is bloody awful. It's not quite as bad as an M3 Lee, but you don't have to pay real money for an M3 Lee. You know, you can drive a shit tank for nothing. You don't have to pay money for it. And this is a shit tank. It really, really is. I mean, I dare say there are people out there who enjoy driving it. And do well in it, but I'll bet you they're spending real money on it to be firing that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying driving it, but we need to agree that you're enjoying driving a shit tank, and you're paying real money for the privilege of doing it. So that, folks, is the Excelsior. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't spend your money on, but if you spend your money on this, you need your head looking at. It really is garbage. It's purely and simply there just to sell gold ammo. That's the only reason this tank exists. If you absolutely must get a premium British heavy tank to train your British heavy tank crews, get yourself a TOG. Because it's great. And convince your friends to get a TOG as well. And then drive around in TOG platoons, scattering your enemies before you and hearing the lamentation of their repair crews. So there you go, the Excelsior Tier 5 Premium British Heavy Tank. What a heap of shit. As always, folks, take care on that battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.